In the world of Grand Tours, only the Giro has crowned champions for attacking too soon and risking everything alone. Fausto Coppi tore through the Alps for 192 kilometers, leaving his rivals nearly 12 minutes behind. Gino Bartali shattered fields with relentless mountain surges, not defense. Why do Italians revere the reckless? And how did the Maglia Rosa become a symbol of audacity? The answer begins in chaos and war. Fausto Coppi's legend was forged in the battered Alps. On a day when the Giro d'Italia demanded more than strength, it demanded defiance. June 10th, 1949. The stage from Cuneo to Pinerolo stretched 254 kilometers across 5 brutal passes, much of it still scarred by war and weather. Rain fell cold and steady as the riders rolled out at dawn. At the Maddalena Pass, with 192 kilometers still to ride, Coppi attacked. No calculation, no waiting for teammates. He passed Primo Volpi's early move and simply kept going, alone. His jersey, white and baby blue, vanished into the mist. The roads were not roads so much as ribbons of gravel and mud. On the Col de Vars and Izoard, Coppi fixed his own punctures, pausing only for bread and cheese handed up by supporters. There were no team cars shadowing him, no radios to call for help, just the sound of rain and the grind of steel gears. The chasers, led by Gino Bartali, could only watch the time gaps stretch. 2 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. By the summit of Sestriere, Coppi's lead had swelled to a margin that seemed impossible. He crossed the line in Pinerolo after nearly 9 hours, and he was 11 minutes and 52 seconds ahead of Bartali. No one had ever seen a raid like it. In that moment, the Giro became a race where a single rider could take on the mountains, the weather, and the world and win. The myth of the Maglia Rosa as a prize for audacity was born in Coppi's solitude, written in mud, rain, and the empty space behind him. Gino Bartali's power in the mountains was never about a single heroic escape. His strength came from a different kind of attack, one built on relentless pressure, repeated surges, and the unwavering support of his team. In the post-war Giros, when roads twisted across the Stelvio and Mortirolo, Bartali's Legnano squad set a punishing tempo from the first ramp, burning through domestiques to keep rivals on the edge. Every acceleration chipped away at the peloton's resolve. Bartali, guided by faith and forged by hardship, waited for the moment when the strongest legs would falter, not with a single explosive move, but with wave after wave of effort. His approach was shaped by more than tactics. During the war, Bartali risked his life as a courier, smuggling documents for the resistance across the Apennines. Those secret rides, taken in silence and danger, built an endurance that no training plan could match. In the 1946 Giro, he attacked the Stelvio, not just for himself, but for a country still in mourning. When news reached him that his sister had been murdered, Bartali rode with a quiet fury, launching accelerations that wore down even Coppi. On the climb to Campobasso in 1947, he gained the pink jersey through sheer attrition, every surge a test of faith, every kilometer a tribute. Bartali's attacks were never solitary. They were born in the engine room of his team, fueled by devotion, and executed with a patience that broke the will of his rivals. In the Giro, he proved that audacity could be collective, that a jersey could be won by grinding others down, one relentless climb at a time. Marco Pantani didn't wait for the mountains to grind down his rivals. He set them on fire. On the Mortirolo in 1994, the peloton was already strung out, nerves raw from the relentless gradients. Pantani rose from the saddle, hands on the drops, head bobbing, and launched a burst that looked reckless to everyone but him. His legs spun at over 100 revolutions per minute, a blur of torque and rhythm. The wattage estimates for that attack hover around 6.2 watts per kilogram, numbers that, even now, border on mythical. Every pedal stroke forced the group behind to make a choice: try to match his cadence and risk blowing up, or ride their own pace and watch the pink jersey vanish up the switchbacks. Pantani's biomechanics were a study in contradiction: compact frame but explosive power, out of saddle but smooth as silk. He leveraged his entire body, hips rocking, arms pulling, driving the bike forward in a way that seemed to defy gravity. This wasn't the slow motion suffering of the old endurance raids. Pantani's attacks were short, savage detonations, designed to crack the field in minutes, not hours. The legacy of those attacks is tangled. Pantani's performances invited suspicion. His 1994 Mortirolo raid was later shadowed by doping debates, though no positive tests surfaced from that era. The Italian Cycling Federation cleared his results, but the questions never fully faded. What can't be erased is the memory of that day, the pink jersey surging away, the peloton scattered behind, and the sense that, for a few kilometers, gravity itself had lost its hold. Vincenzo Nibali never waited for the summit to make his move. His weapon was gravity, sharpened by nerve and precision. On the Colle dell'Agnello in 2016, the air was thin and the road slick with melting snow. Nibali surged over the top, eyes locked on the serpentine ribbon, plunging into France. Where others feathered their brakes, he leaned into each hairpin, carving lines at speeds that left even the camera motorcycles hesitating. Telemetry from his training runs showed lateral forces peaking over 1.2 G in the tightest corners, with descents regularly topping 70 kilometers per hour. That day, a single mistake from a rival, Kruijswijk's crash into a snowbank, opened the door. Nibali and Chavez vanished down the mountain, the gap to the pink jersey stretching with every risk taken. By the valley floor, Nibali had gained more than a minute, a margin built not on raw watts, but on nerve. In 2019, on Sevillo's twisting descent, he attacked again, dropping rivals who hesitated at the edge of traction. Team directors called it psychological warfare. When Nibali pointed his bike downhill, hesitation spread through the peloton. The risk was not just physical. It was a dare, follow, and risk everything, or blink and watch the Giro slip away. Chris Froome's attack on the Colle del Finestre in 2018 rewrote the manual for long-range raids. With 80 kilometers still to the finish in Bardonecchia, he launched alone on the lower slopes of the gravel climb, an ambush that left rivals and fans stunned. Team Sky had spent the early hours burning through domestiques, driving a relentless pace to isolate every other contender. By the time Froome reached the unpaved switchbacks, Simon Yates was dropped, and no one from the general classification had teammates left. Inside the Sky Team car, sport directors monitored power files and radioed precise wattage targets, and Froome held just over 400 watts for the first hour after his move, never dipping below the numbers set in pre-race planning. The gravel was chosen on purpose. It punished chasers, made drafting useless, and magnified every weakness. Froome's nutrition strategy was mapped kilometer by kilometer, with gels and bottles handed up at exact intervals to stave off the dreaded bonk. Every element was calculated, but the risk was absolute. If the gap fell below a minute at the summit, the plan was to abort. Instead, at the top of Finestre, Froome's advantage grew, 4 minutes clear, radio silent except for the call. He has gone rogue, Chase. The ambush held to the line, turning data and daring into a single uncatchable break. In a race built on audacity, Froome weaponized science, proving that old-school attacks could be engineered as precisely as they once were improvised. Tadej Pogačar attacks the Giro with a philosophy that feels both ancient and new. His training rides are not just about numbers. They are about instincts sharpened by deep study. In the team bus, he pores over archives of Coppi's rain-soaked raids and Pantani's explosive sprints. Then he heads out to test those moves on real climbs with modern telemetry strapped to his bike. Pogačar's staff blend old-school tactics with data-driven drills, building for those moments when a race can be won not by calculation, but by instinct. On Etna in 2024, he launched a 50-kilometer solo that left the peloton scattered, echoing the long-range raids of the past. Power meters set the floor, but Pogačar trusts field to set the ceiling. As he puts it, the Giro rewards Coppi-like audacity in a Watts world. In him, the Maglia Rosa legacy of fearless attacking lives on, rewritten with every burst, every risk, every refusal to wait. The Giro d'Italia is engineered for chaos. Its stage design stitched together multiple high mountain passes, unpaved sectors, and unpredictable weather and terrain that punish hesitation and reward those who gamble early. On the Stelvio or Mortirolo, gradients spike above 20%, forcing selections hours from the finish. The average time gap on these mountain stages stretches to 2 or even 5 minutes, dwarfing the margins seen in France or Spain. Over 70% of pink jersey changes come from mid-race attacks, not time trials or defensive rides. In 1988, a blizzard on the Gavia Pass turned the peloton into a line of frozen phantoms, with only the boldest surviving to contest the lead. But the Giro's wildness is more than just terrain or weather. It is fueled by the tifosi, the Italian fans who line the climbs, chanting, lighting flares, and waving banners. On the Curva Coppi, thousands gather each year, transforming the roadside into a shrine for attackers. Here, defenders are forgotten. The gods are those who dare. Today, the Giro's wild stages still reward the bold, not the cautious. As modern cycling grows ever more calculated, Italy's mountains remind us, audacity creates legends. In a sport obsessed with margins, the Maglia Rosa remains a symbol for those willing to risk everything. What would you dare?